Welcome to How to File Taxes and Overview, Part 2 of 2. Today we're going to go over figuring out the tax owing using a tax table, figuring out your credits, or also known as non-refundable credits, figuring out other taxes owing, figuring out your payments, or otherwise known as refundable credits, and determining the refund that you get or the amount that you pay. Now this here is a tax table. As you can see, it's divided into the income that you make and your filing status. So this here is the $41,000 income range, this here is $42,000 income range, and so forth. Now let's say our taxable income is $28,345. And if you don't remember how to determine the taxable income, I'd advise you to refer back to my previous tutorial, How to File Taxes and Overview tutorial part 1. So, based on our tax table, our tax owing is $3,399. So, I'm going to show you exactly how I came up with the tax owing based on a taxable income of $28,345. So let's take a look at the tax table here, and as you can see, the tax table is multiple pages, so we want to scroll down to our taxable income amount, which is $28,345, and now we're in the $20,000 taxable income range, and we find the $28,000 taxable income bracket right here. So we find $28,345, which falls right in between $28,300 and $28,350. Now we want to determine what our filing status is, and in this example we're going to be married filing jointly, so it's going to be the second column here. So back to our $20,345 taxable income, and we go to the second column, and there it is. Our tax owing is $3,399. Now that we determined the tax owing, from there we subtract the credits, and then we add the other taxes in order to get the total tax. From the total tax, we subtract the payments in order to determine whether we owe money or we get a refund. Now examples of credits are foreign tax credit, credit for child and dependent care expenses, and education credits. For a complete list of credits, I'd advise you to take a look at the 1040 under the tax and credit section. Now we determine our tax owing from the tax table was $3,399. From there we subtract the credits. Now these credits are non-refundable credits, meaning if the credits are larger than the tax owing, it doesn't give us a negative refund amount. It just simply reduces the tax owing to zero. So in this case we have $4,000 in education credits, and we have $13,000 in tax credits. And as you can see, the credits are larger than the tax owing, but it doesn't give us a refund. It just simply reduces the tax owing to zero. From the zero balance, we then add the other taxes, which in this case is $74 in self-employment tax and $17 in unreported Social Security tax, to get a total of $91 in total tax. Now that we determine that we're the total tax owing, from there we subtract the payments in order to determine the refund or the amount that we owe. Now payments are refundable credits, and refundable credits is if a credit is bigger than the total tax owing, you get a refund. So examples of payments would be federal income tax withheld, earned income credit, and first time home buyers credit. For a complete list of payments, I'd advise you to look at the 1040 under the payment section. So from our previous slide, we determined we have $91 in total tax owing, and from there we further subtract it by the payments. So here we have $600 in federal income tax withheld, and we have $400 in earned income tax. And the payments are larger than the tax owing, therefore we get a $909 refund. Now, if the payments were less than the tax owing, for example, if our total payments came out to $50, then we would owe the IRS $41.